So today I want to talk to you about why retro games are on the rise this year. The main belief all the gaming community have of why these types of games are gaining more and more attention is because they think people are just feeling nostalgic about the good old days. But what if there's not only one but three totally different reasons behind what caused this phenomenon? I've spent the last week analyzing tons of small and big gaming channels, forums, and discussions, and they all share the same three causes, which we'll be seeing through the whole video on why retro games are becoming more popular this year. The three causes being the corporate reason, the psychological reason, and the emotional reason. Abusive modern games. Imagine you go to a restaurant and ask for a full plate, a complete meal with everything, and then after half an hour has gone by, the waiter comes to your table and asks you if you can wait 30 more minutes. So you don't have an alternative but to say yes. So after an hour of patiently waiting, they give you a half plate meal. Then the waiter comes to your table again and say to you, that half meal you have on your plate is the best part of the complete meal, but if you want the full meal, you'll have to pay us a little bit more. So you think to yourself, this is such a bad restaurant. How come you ask me to spend more money to buy a meal that should be complete from the beginning? And you decide to walk out and head to another restaurant. And they do the same thing they did at the last restaurant. So you go to another restaurant and it's the same over and over again. And you realize and think to yourself, when did this become the norm for high-end restaurants? This is outrageous. This is what's been happening lately in the modern gaming industry. Every year they raise prices more, they leave pieces of content out on purpose so they can charge more for them. And a great example is the case of Pokemon Legends ZA. Shout out to Mikiato and her Nintendo Fatigue video, which is a really good video. You should check it out. Pokemon Legends ZA DLC was announced before the game even came out. They decided to just cut off content to obtain more gains from it. Now, what does this mean for the gaming community as a whole? The only company who has faced direct backslash was Microsoft, not Nintendo, not PlayStation, not Ubisoft, heck, not even Electronic Arts, creators of the repetitive FIFA games we all know. And because no action against these practices is being taken, they just keep raising the pricing more. They keep making more anti-consumer decisions because they know no one will do anything. Basically, games will keep degrading over time until they hit a point where no gaming will enjoy the video games anymore, or to the point where the community will feel so dull and empty that we'll have no choice but to benefit the consumer in a more direct way. So when you're facing this abusive treatment from the companies that supposedly care about your entertainment, you start to ask yourself, why am I still playing these video games? Need for introspection. Because the bad decisions companies make unleash something inside of us. And this next reason is why we value a good story more than good graphics. There's been a recent tendency within the modern generation to question ourselves, the decisions we make and why we make them. Once you reach a certain point in your life, you start to wonder if the life you are living till then is the one you actually want to live, if the games you play are actually games you want to experience. And when that answer is no, that triggers the next question: how much of my own actions in life I'm doing them without actually wanting to do them? A perspective like this gives you clarity, gives you a sense of refreshment, and it also gives you the control of your life back to you. And everything started because of one simple question: is this what I truly want for myself? And what's better to get to know yourself than not having the constant social pressure of modern media and modern gaming? Beat 'em ups genre of video games are what give me a space in my brain to think better about many situations in my life. But games like Ocarina of Time or Pokemon, or even more niche like Marvel Nemesis Rise of the Imperfects, what a great game, are the ones that help people develop a more refined sense of identity of themselves. And since the question of what I want for myself has already been planted in your brain, almost every experience you make yourself live through since then is oriented to the search of identity or purpose, which leads directly to the next point. The main trigger for this introspection is because of the enemy of modern gaming. Modern games feel like a job. Modern games feel like a job, and that's the harsh reality of these current times. In a certain point of your life, once you hit 15 or 16 years old, you start to experiment life quicker. Every year feels faster than the last one, until one day you wake up and realize you've been doing the same thing for more than 20 years. Every single day you repeat the same actions in almost the same order. You live through the same old habits until one day something hits you. Call it, I don't know, divine intervention, or call it having enough of that dull feeling. But it makes you realize the number of actions you do in your daily life that are just repetitive, pointless, and soulless, and modern games worsen the situation. I didn't realize how many days I've spent on Fortnite and Roblox parkours until one day I saw I had more than 1,000 hours playing those game modes. I was so used to play the same old map that I didn't really do anything else in my free time. Like your friend who's always on that grindy game that whenever they talk about it, they just sound so tired and emotionless like it was a job they don't want to do? Well, the turning point that made me go back to playing old games or solo games was this corporate problem. Every modern game is designed for you to spend more time on it. Every single one. Your experience, your personal growth by playing them is just a secondary goal they might or might not want to fulfill. And people like you and me grew so full of it that something snapped inside of us because of that overbold mistake. And because this is a topic worthy to deep dive, please check the video showing on your screen right now, the gaming burnout, which should be posted a day or two after this video was posted. So basically and fundamentally, the reason why retro games are on the rise are because of these main reasons: the abusive modern games, the need for introspection, and because modern games feel like a job. How do you feel about it? Is there any retro game you go back to because it makes you reflect on your own actions? Please let me know. Tell me in the comments. Bye bye. It's 3 in the morning. Why you only call me when you hurt? Hell, the only company who has faced direct back blah, blah, blah. So when you are facing this abusive treatment form, that's when my heart is in Havana. That triggers the net, but it makes you realize the number of actions you do in the